Welcome to the Heroes Podcast. I'm so happy today. I've got someone really special for you. Raja, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, brother. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Andre.
Before we start, I wanted to intro Raja. Coach Raja is a triple talent, science for the mind, karate for the body, music for the soul. For 4 years, he's been providing live one-on-one and group coaching on mindset, speaking, confidence, and peak performance. Helps thousands and thousands of people. What a man. His launch of the Mindshift Mastery yielded 100% success rate in guiding clients to face fears and overcome their self-limiting beliefs about success. What a man. Welcome on the show, Raja. Tell me, where did this start from? Was
Well,
there a time when you did not feel so
oh,
empowered?
very much so, very much so. And first of all, Dr. Andre, let me just say, let me give you a ring of the victory bell for doing such a great intro. And excuse my voice sound. I have a bit of a cold today, so I sound even deeper and more mysterious than usual. Um, it started really in my youth. I grew up with a really bad with a bad and so I had trouble speaking when I was growing up, and it started. I think it was diagnosed when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I'd been through speech therapy for years. And the kids really made a big target out of me because of it. So I remember being picked on in school, in class, and even the teachers, they thought that I was mentally retarded because of it, because back then they really didn't understand it as well. So we're going back 40 years, and I got put into the lowest classroom education level because they thought that I was mentally deficient, and that really wasn't the case. It took me years to fight through that because I said, well, to me it didn't bother me because I thought, oh, good, I got a whole new bunch of friends. They were nice, and we had fun playing together. But I could tell I didn't quite belong there. I said, all right. So I talked to my teachers, like, why am I here? Why did you put me here? This doesn't make sense. And they would politely try to say, well, Roger, the way you talk and we think, they actually thought that's the way things were. So then when I started to push myself and get good grades academically, by the time they put me in those low classes in second grade. By the time I got, second, third, third and fourth grade, we're taking state examinations. I did very well. In fifth and sixth grade, finally, I get top scores in math and science, not just in my class, but in my entire grade. So that's when they realized their mistake. It took that many years for them to finally transition me out. And then by the time I got to seventh, eighth grade, I got into the advanced classes. I'm taking advanced math and algebra and calculus, and I actually advanced into the uh, by ninth grade. I had a bunch of my friends that were uh, in the gifted program, and I was not. So I had to fight the school to say, why am I not in this when I actually have higher grades than all my friends here? And and that wasn't to be bragging or anything. Just say I just wanted to be where I belong. And so I had to bring my father in to talk to the principal. The guidance counselor didn't want to do the tests to check your IQ, and I said, "Well, what's the big deal? What's hard?" Say, "Oh, well, you may have to pay for the test." I'm like, "Okay, was that the big holdup? Are you serious? Fine, I'll pay for it. What's the big deal?" So when I kind of like threw it back in their face like that, they realized their mistake and they found some money and they just did it, took care of it. Lo and behold, they tested my IQ. It was definitely higher than they thought it was, and as a result, and this is one thing I've seen of a lot of people who have speech dysphonia is that their brain is moving faster than their mouth can talk, and generally our brain is already like that anyway. On average, the average person can speak about 125 to 150 words per minute, but our brains can process 450 to 500 words per minute. So our brain is already moving 3 times faster than our mouth can follow, right? So I realized from that struggle, from that journey, that when people look at you and they see something, um, uh, only half of the problem is them. The other half is you allowing it or to permit it. You don't have to permit it. You can stand up for yourself. You can use the power of your voice. You can use the power of you just being there, standing firm, not being rude, not insulting anybody else, but saying, this is who I am, and I think I need to be in a different location, in a different place, in a different school, in a different teacher, in different whatever you may be. If you're at a job that does not respect you because of your a disability, well, guess what? It's up to you to stand up for yourself, because no one else will do it for you, right? So this is a bit of tough love, because I've experienced this myself over my whole life. No one will do it for you. So you must be your own advocate and stand up for yourself, and talk to HR, talk to schools, talk to parent-teacher organizations, talk to your councilmen, talk to your government agencies, and say, is this the normal way of treating people? And if it's not, it is your job, your responsibility to forge a new path. And when I say forge, when you forge something, you break something down and you remake it.
Love
It
it.
is your job to reforge your life.
And Raja, would you say, do you think your father was a key element in making this shift? So his support?
Well, I think so, partially, because my father, we're all first generation immigrants in the U.S. My mom and dad were both born and raised in India. My father became a dentist there, and he showed me that he left India to come to America to forge a new life. My mom had me, and she was still pregnant with my sister, who was 18 months younger than me, when my dad came to America back in 1975. And when he landed off the plane, my gosh, it was a crisp, cold day. You could feel the dewdrops on the grass, and the crunch of that smell of gasoline in the air. And he had $8 in the pocket, and he could barely speak English. He didn't know where he was going to sleep that night. So when he told me about that story, about how people treated him when he started his classes in America, even his Indian friends, they would make fun of him, saying that, oh, he doesn't have good clothes, he doesn't know how to talk, he doesn't, he's not that smart. But he kept quiet, and what he did is he worked silently while people weren't watching. He got a job in a factory up in north of Philadelphia as a security guard. So he would work overnight, and he would, and in the downtime where there was a lot of, he would read his books. And then he would get ahead. So when it came down to take not just all the exams, but to take the dental school board exams, of all of his friends, my father was the only one that passed the dental school board exams on his first try. And that got him the respect that he deserves. Because a lot of us will not give you the respect that you deserve. You have to go out and take it. You have to show it. And my father, one of the few things he's told me that really resonates with me is that, Raja, time is one thing that you don't get back. Whatever you have to do, do it now. Don't lose your time, because you don't ever get it back. And I think that he made the best use of his time. And me growing up in America, maybe I haven't made the best use of my time. There's definitely years where I would have, looking back at oh man, I was pretty dumb in my 20s. I wish I had done things differently. But then again, it has brought me every decision, every choice, every mistake, every learning experience brought me to where I am today. And now I'm a mindset coach, and I've helped thousands of people. I'm a black belt, I'm a master. And and despite having this cold, 2 days ago I just won the first round of my international Toastmasters competition with a cold. So they say that in order to be recognized, when people ask, well, who is the best baseball player of all time? Well, they'll say, like, oh, Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig or whoever else. But Babe Ruth didn't hit the most home runs. Lou Gehrig, neither did he. So why is it that they're thought of as some of the best baseball players of all time? It's because, like a piece of coal, in order for that coal to become a diamond, it needs pressure, it needs adverse conditions, it needs to be in a difficult situation and still thrive. And all of you have that potential inside of you, because if you think about your life and you hit the easy button and just go on cruise control in your whole life, it's okay. That is definitely one choice. It is not my choice. And my choice, and I always talk about tough love, and I always tell you straight to the point, because as a black belt, if you're a white belt, yellow belt, green belt, or etc. in our system, if you want to be a black belt, I have to tell you the truth. And the truth sometimes is a hard pill to swallow, because you need what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And as the tough love teacher, I always tell students, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And what you need to hear is throw out the easy button. There will be times in your life where you get to relax, because life is a marathon. But the more important thing is that life is a series of sprints and recovery within that marathon. So you're always working going forward. You're always trying to grow yourself and the people around you. And whether you own a business or work somewhere, if you want to make the best of your skills and your knowledge, you must know when to accelerate and when to relax and recover. But there is no easy button. Anybody out there looking for that shiny object that's going to just, that one little piece, if I only had one more piece of my business, everything would just explode. It doesn't work that way. Consistency beats intensity every single day. So if you're consistently improving 1% every day, you will far outweigh all those people that are saying, oh, I just took this 4-week course and now I'm a certified life coach after 4 weeks. Sure you are. Right. You paid a couple $1,000 for this life course and you have no experience. Sure, but that piece of paper, if that makes you feel good, go ahead. I never had a certification when I started coaching. And honestly, I don't think you need a certification. I think what you need is knowledge, education. You need education with experience. And I think what people should show is, show me a log of how many people you've helped. That is your certification. Not some training course you took online for 4 weeks. That doesn't qualify you as a certified anything. It is your experience changing lives. That's what I love to hear.
Would you say, like, my take on it is probably certainty that you can help others?
Oh, for sure.
Like, without that, certification almost irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
So how do you help people? Who are your ideal clients? Who are the people coming to you?
Right. So the perfect referral for me would be people who are introverted executives at corporations and associations and introverted entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs, that's a broad category. That can be solopreneurs, authors, speakers, coaches. And what's happening is a lot of them feel stuck. So whether you're in a working corporate environment, I've been a cancer scientist for 25 years. So I have made multi-billion-dollar drugs and led teams. I've led multi-million-dollar projects. So I understand from a very high level how to lead teams and how to use teams effectively for them to be more productive. And it's not about just, um, trying to connect people to, if you have 10 people, you have 10 projects, just do a one-to-one. That is management. That's not leadership, right? Because that's just math. So the perfect client that I want to work with is the people that understand they need to know more than just math. So if you want to grow your leadership skills and your influence skills, you must grow yourself, because truly over 90% of your business leadership development is actually personal development. And for any of us that feel a little bit stuck, whether at work or whether in our own business, the problem is you. And I mean that in the nicest way, because I love you, right? This is tough love. Like, if there's a student that comes to me as a brown belt says, oh man, 6 months more into my black belt, I don't know if I can hang out. I don't know if I can last that long. I said, okay, fine, quit.
Don't
Go
even
ahead.
start.
Because you just wasted 4.5 years. Why would you give up, 3 feet from gold? Why would you give up when you're 2 feet from the finish line, right? So what I do is I rephrase it for them. I reframe it. I say, is it worth quitting when you put this much time in? Is it worth all that money, all the thousands of dollars, all the hours, all the trips back and forth, all the walking uphill in the snow both ways in the rain, barefoot and you know, is it worth all the time that your parents came to all of your trainings and all your testing and saw you get promoted? Is it okay to fail on yourself when so many other people are depending on you for their pride? That's when they start to realize, oh, it's not just my journey, it's really a group journey. Because there's an African proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, it takes a village. And it's so true.
And what made you jump out of, you mentioned cancer scientists, like
Yeah.
just really far from being a mindset coach and doing what you do now. Like, what was that made the difference? What made you jump?
Well, after 11 years at most recently at Johnson and Johnson, I had noticed that they do not have any protections for people like me with speech handicaps under the Americans with Disabilities Act that every corporation is supposed to follow. They have protections for people who are blind, people who are deaf, but not people who have a speech handicap. So for people like me that get stuck and there have been times where people have yelled at me. They've tried to bully me. They've talked behind my back and said some bad things about me, and I was in shock. And then it just made it worse. I couldn't even talk about it. And so finally, when I talked to my manager about it, I talked to 5 different managers about this, and you know what they all said? Well, let's consider that water under the bridge and let's move forward and be positive. Well, what about the repercussions? So they're allowed to backstab me and put me down and bully me, and that's the toxic bullying culture that you're going to allow? So that was sort of the start of it, and especially the last 6 months. My boss of 15 years retired, and then the new senior director didn't like me much. As soon as I got in, I knew I was under bad footing. She made it extremely difficult for me, and that's when they start to do these performance plans. So here I am in that same year. I win 2 Scientific Encore Awards. I win an Inspire Award, a company-wide award for my speaker confidence workshop that improved corporate culture at all of Johnson & Johnson to over 1,400 employees. I won. I'm an award-winning scientist and leader. And they decide I wasn't working to my potential, and they want to force me out. So it is what it is. That's the corporate world. And we'll come back to that, because there's anybody out there that feels like they've been wronged or violated, do something about it, and we will. There will be a class action lawsuit against them in the future.
This is profound, and I understand a lot of people are going into toxic environments daily. I would say this is a message for you. It is a message for you to move on, change, and go somewhere where you're appreciated. But looking back, I would say probably you are grateful for all of what happened, right?
In a way, because think about it this way: when you people are so afraid of failure that they don't try to win, and that happens too often in life. Don't be afraid to fail, because fail means first attempt in learning. F-A-I-L, first attempt in learning. So when you view it that way, you don't win or lose. You actually win or you learn something, and that learning means you succeed later. When I did my first karate tournament, I didn't place, and guess what? That pissed me off. That made me work harder. That's what I learned. I learned that I had to work harder. The second tournament I went to, I got second place. And then the third tournament I went to, I started getting first place. And then I kept on getting first place, because then every tournament, what I would do is review what I did well, review what I needed to work on, and I would keep improving one thing from each experience. And too many people get stuck in overwhelm. Oh my God, there's so many things to do. Well, that's the problem. is that you haven't prioritized what is the one most important thing you have to do. Pick one. And if you pick that one, not only that, you can probably solve one problem in one day. And then you move on to the next one. And that's all it really takes. So for all of you out there that are struggling, there is a way for you to be out there and to become more. There is an opportunity for you to become the next version of yourself. There is an opportunity for you to become a truly successful online entrepreneur, business owner, or CEO as part of a company. But you got to be hungry. And if I may, there was a great book I just read recently called The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni. And I'm going to summarize that book in 3 words. There are 3 attributes that he wrote in the book after I read the entire books. You must be humble. That means you get along with people, because nobody likes somebody who's egotistical. And I learned that the hard way over years. And I think starting my own personal transformation journey, I learned that it took a while for me to understand that being humble really helps you connect with more people. Second one is be hungry. Being hungry means that you want more. And that means not just more money or more titles, it means more education, more connection, being able to work together with people more. And the third thing is being smart, and as in people smart, being aware of what is around you. So I would change that being smart to being people aware. So that people awareness means when you go to your team meeting and there's 10 people there, do you understand who each of them are? What are their needs? What are their wants? Who's the newest person on your team? Who's the most experienced person? Who's the one that just came back from maternity leave and perhaps is not quite back up to speed yet? That's okay. But we need to understand everybody. Who's the young a millennial or somebody who just broke up with their fiance and is crying in tears in the corner while they're trying to do their job? Did you ask what's wrong? If you didn't, that's on you. It's your fault. You as the manager, as the leader, you should be people aware and you should know what's happening on your team. And a lot of managers treat people like they're robots, and they move one thing to one thing to one thing, thinking that people are interchangeable. A lot of times they're not, because we need to understand what are their motivations, what are their skill sets, and that's people aware. So hungry, right? Humble and people aware, and you will be a valued team member as part of any corporation or in your own business to your team.
Yes, I loved how you said human connection, because that makes the massive difference as how you are seen. So what is the next big goal, your next big jump that you would love to celebrate, Raj, in 5 years?
In 5 years? Or now?
Now.
But by the time that this goes on, this will probably have passed. But I'm doing my first summit of speakers, and it's for amazing humans who crush challenges. It's going to be up at the end of February of 2023, and I'm looking for speakers who are amazing humans who crush challenges, any challenges they've experienced in their life and overcome. We want to hear that story, and what are the 3 main educational points that you can share with our audience. And a long-term goal, 5 years from now, I want to be a 7-figure earner, at least, minimum. That means $84,000 a month, and that's in US dollars. So that way you get 7 figures a year. And it is not so I can go out and buy Lamborghinis and Ferraris and pretend to be social media famous. I hate that BS. There's a lot of hype and fake gurus out there who don't live the life that they're pretending to be. Out in Los Angeles, there's a studio with the inside of a jet that is carved out. It is booked 24/7 because every single influencer is booked out for 3 months in advance. Wants to pretend they're on a jet with a glass of champagne, flying first class on their private jet. That is a real thing. That's how many fake people there are on the internet. Do not believe the internet. Ask how many people have they served? How many people have they uplifted? Then ask how long it took them to do their training, their experience, their journey, What did they have to go through? Find out their real story. Find out their real why. Because a lot of them will say, oh, well, I've been doing all this entrepreneurial stuff and online businesses for 5 years. I finally figured out one way to do this, and now it works. So I'm just going to keep on selling it to everybody I can. Well, there's no real substance behind that. Those kind of flash in the pan entrepreneurs, they will disappear in 18 months because the online marketplace shifts every 18 to 24 months. So if you don't pivot along with it and have a real vision long term, you're going to disappear as well. My long term vision is I want to make 7 figures a year minimum because I want to build schools in India to get homeless kids off of the streets. Because I truly believe that once we change the life of a child, we educate them, their family and their families for generations now have been raised. We have now changed the mindset of an entire generation, and that's how you change a culture, and that's how you change a country, and that's how you change the world. So then that system can be applied not just to India, where I grew up, or where I was born, but then it can apply to every other country beyond that. So I'm going to start there and then apply to every other third world country. And on top of that, I love music. And I want to supply enough money to every school or university, especially for young children, to be able to play an instrument or to sing in a chorus or a choir. Because music is one of those few activities that transcends our race or background or creed. It doesn't matter where you come from. When you hear a song on the radio or you hear Rocky Balboa's theme, gonna fly now, you hear an amazing song that pumps you up. Well, doesn't matter where you're from, you just love it. And all of a sudden that connects us together. There's a reason why the iPod propelled Apple from almost going out of business to now becoming a $2 trillion company because of music. So don't let anybody trick you into saying, oh, well, we got to cut the school budget. The first thing we cut is the arts. You could do that. The only problem is you can't measure your artistic qualities. That's why they can use a yardstick to measure how good you are in math, how good you are in science, how good you are in reading. But when it comes to the arts, people can't measure it. That's why they don't value it. But without the arts, without some music in your soul, you lose a piece of your soul growing up. You lose that chance to connect with people. So those are the 2 things I would do.
Well, I love what you said about helping children. I do have my own project called Visit Orphans Today. And I hope we will connect on that, because I really want to build a directory of orphanages around the world. And I want people to call in and give help that way. We'll discuss that later, but what a versatile person you are, full of substance. I can see that impossible for you, and maybe for me as well, to disappear from the online space, because I believe the next years or the next decade would be around authenticity. Who is real? Who has real drive? Because when hard times comes, they stay standing. And with your karate, I have no doubt. So where can people find you? How is the best way to get in touch with you? If you want to just share your website, share your contact, I would love to share that with the audience. Of course, we will give it, under the video, but.
Well, 2 ways. Number one is there's my site. It's victorymindsetacademy.com, victorymindsetacademy.com, and you see it behind me as well. And I launched this only 2 years ago, and it's just exploded. I've helped so many people, with the thousands of people, to help change their mindset and create a mind shift. And what I do is, I'm not like most coaches or gurus. I don't pretend to be perfect. I'm not. And I tell you all the mistakes I made so you can learn from my mistakes. How's that? So then that way you don't have to feel bad about, oh my God, that person's so perfect and that person's so pretty or that person is so rich. And no, I went through every hardship that you're going through as well. So right now, when you go to that site, victorymindsetacademy.com, there is a fast action mindset course right there for you. 5 modules, 3 minutes each, in about 15, 20 minutes. You'll get it done and get some fast action, because when you take action, that's when you get traction in your life. Because when you're alive, you thrive. And I want you to be alive in your life, not just getting by.
How powerful. That resonates, is to not live a small life, a safe life of ordinary results. Because as you said in the beginning, and maybe I want to bring that back again, that you losing time, you losing your life, because that's all you've got. Certain number of days, certain number of years.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people wake up 20 years, 30 years, 40 years after they realize that, damn, I fell asleep somewhere on the journey. Or some of them, they wake up on their deathbed with regrets. Is there any sort of 5, 10 points that you would want to highlight for people as golden nuggets from you, from your experience, to change gear, to step into their new leadership or new version, as you've said it?
A great question. Here's the number one thing I've learned, and I'll tell you 3 things. Number one is, when you're growing and changing, people around you don't like it. They will not support you. But you have to believe in yourself. Do not believe in other people's opinions of you or your change as being bad. Because people say, oh, you've changed so much. And why is it that people think that change is bad? It's a good thing. Growth is change. In your body, cells are always growing and always dying, right? Every single one of us, people don't, I know this, every single one of us has cancer in our bodies, but our immune system takes care of it. But if we don't have a strong immune system, then the bad tumor cells can take over. And that's what happens to a lot of our lives, is that we allow other people to take over our thoughts and our processes. Do not listen to other people's opinions of you. You believe in yourself. And that leads me to my quote I always say all the time, is that don't fake it till you make it, believe it and become it. And that is really going to be what's going to drive you forward. It is not up to anybody else to decide your potential. You decide your own potential.
Words of wisdom from Raja. And probably if you listen to us, you may find sometimes they don't appreciate you in the old environment. Because imagine if you're growing, they want the old version of you. So wake up. You need to probably become members in new communities. Raja has got one. I have one. You need to grow into your new self, and that requires a new environment. And if you're not able to let go of the old people, well, I'm guessing you are holding you to your old results. Do you want to expand on that?
Here's the problem. What happens? It's sort of like you're trying to gamble with your life. You go to sit at the blackjack table, and this is how gambling really gets exponentially worse. Somebody sits down there and say, "Oh, they won $30." Okay, but then they lost $100. Now they lost $200. Now they won $20. Now they lost another $300. They keep digging themselves in the hole, and it's what they call like invest in investment and like opportunity loss. We are so invested in our mistakes, we try to stay with them because we think we can correct them. Sometimes you have to know when to cut your losses and move forward. Every single mistake you've made in your life has been an experience that brought you here today. You don't need to stay with that mistake, though. You do not stay with that mistake. Instead, think about what it is that's going to move you forward. I thought last year, and you and I have talked about this, Andre, last August, I found out all these speaker and podcasting groups that were growing, and they were going to do, and you know, people are charging courses to get you on 100 stages in a year. I thought, well, what if that's only twice a week? What if I just tried on my own and see if I could do it? And I drew my line in the sand and said, let me try to do 100 stages or 100 interviews in 6 months. So just do it twice as fast. That's all. I just thought it's math, right? And that didn't happen. Instead, I did 204, not in 6 months, in 5 months. I did more than double what I thought I could do. That is the power of believing in yourself. And I didn't know it was going to be happening, right? So, all right.
Would you say massive action was the key, and probably you've made a lot of mistakes along the journey, yet you expanded yourself into some impossible level?
Right, I would say so because, okay, 1 minute. And so, uh, with every big win, you have to take a big swing. So there's a saying here, you have to swing for the fences, right? So in baseball, if you've ever played baseball, when you swing and you get to first base, you get credited as part of being on the run, but you haven't even scored yet. But in order to really score, you have to swing for the fences, right? So the whole idea there is that if you if you want to uh, if you want to learn how to really succeed, then the whole idea there is you have to start to swing for the fences, dream bigger. Because a lot of us stay small and we get stuck. But instead of that, Mark Horverson, like one of our the mentors who passed away back in 2018, I believe, or 2019. He would always say his quote is um, his quote is uh, small hinges swing big doors. You don't have to completely change your life, but if you make a small decision, it is going to pivot you in a way that will change your life, right? So
Well,
that's what I'm asking you to do is that make a decision. Go to victorymindsetacademy.com, take that free fast action course. Join my group. It's in the Mindshift Mastery group on Facebook, and there'll be links on my webpage. And if there's other free options that you want to start to change your life, make that small decision now, because where are you going to be in 12 months? Where are you going to be in 5 years? So Andre, now the time is up, right? Right, right. Because like we're going to have to say, all right, well, Raja said he's going to be a seven-figure earner in 5 years. Uh-oh, I better start getting on it, right? Because I said I'm going to do it. Credibility. When I went for the world championships in karate, people didn't believe me. I didn't know if I believed in myself, but I was going to do it. I took home 2 trophies in the world championships. I was 16 years old. And then I was 18 years old. I qualified for the Olympics. So nobody knew who was going to do this. I didn't know I was going to be able to do that. I didn't know that now I'm a 6-degree black belt. Now I got inducted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame in 2017. And since then, there have been multiple magazines, corporations, big martial arts events that now have inducted me into their martial arts hall of fame, because not only did I use martial arts to win in tournaments, I did more importantly, I raised money for cancer research for children. So I would teach sword seminars and donate all the profits towards the cancer center at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So you don't know how great you can be. And I'll leave you with one last thought. Michelangelo, when he made that amazing statue of a David, he carved it out of a 17-foot high, 12,000-pound block of white marble. Incredibly heavy, and you can't make a mistake. That's it. You have to be sponsored as an artist hundreds of years ago, right? So you don't get a do-over. So when he was interviewed and asked, how did he create that amazing statue? He said, well, I didn't create anything. I found the greatness within and I removed the excess. And all of you have greatness within. You got to let go of the baggage, whatever's holding you back. whatever emotional trauma, whatever negative experiences or thoughts that have held you back up to this point, let it go. Shed the excess and find the greatness within. This is Coach Raja Vaidya. Believe it.
Thank you very much. It was amazing, eye-opening time with you. And guys, details are under the video. Reach out, follow him, because your life will change. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great time, everybody.